Good day. I just want to do a quick read to pick up the energy on my Bring Down the Terrace deck. Ignore my nails. I didn't have time to do them, but I was like, well, I didn't get to the store to get no more, but I wanted to do this. I may say terrace, and you may have to look up the meaning online. But these religious groups that like get people to join and then have them like so afraid of them that they'll commit criminal acts. That's all it is it's terrorism. So I feel as if, for some people to maybe recognize terrorism in their community or the possibility that they may be at risk for being involved in like a cult or a coven that's, in essence, based on the criminality, a terrorist group, that I should pull some energy. See. All right. We have hive mentality. Hive mentality, I feel like, to me, I think of like a bee, and there may be a specific definition, but I think about the fact that everybody is there to support and follow the bee. Usually in these cults or covens, in these groups, it's usually like one main leader and people follow it blindly. Like everybody serves that one person. That's the same in cults. It's the same with terrorism. There's usually like one leader. Be quiet. Be quiet. There's usually like one leader that everybody is there to follow, to support. And it's all like, okay, make sure that person is okay, and then we'll all be okay. I experienced it with this cult or coven. It's like no matter what this person did, it's like everybody thought like as long as the well-being of that person is okay, we'll be okay. And the problem with that thinking is if you encounter someone that like figures out who the quote unquote queen bee is, and they feel like that hive is a threat, then all you have to do is take out the queen bee. It's very dangerous to place your well-being, the responsibility under one person or even a group. Hive mentality, modern day slavery. So the hive mentality under the modern day slavery, a lot of times you'll see in these cults, like these covens, and also the same with these terrorist groups, is it's like be quiet. All of the assets, all of the resources, like pour into it because they're there to support the cause. So like, let's talk about regular slavery. You work hard and you get nothing for it. So if you are working and then all of your resources are going to this cult or coven to support a cause, whatever the cause is, for whatever religious cause for the cult or the terrorist group, it's the same, right? All of your resources go into the cult the same as all of your resources would go into a terrorist group to support the cause. So in essence, if you're putting all of your resources into a cult, then it's the same as modern day slavery. Like these things are like they're literally almost the same thing. Now, when we come, like, usually with cults, they may commit criminal acts, but it's not as blatant as what I experienced. Usually with cults, they tend not to commit criminal acts because they don't want to be noticed or draw attention. I believe the cult turning into like that terrorist organization type is when they are using hive mentality, modern day slavery, like making people work without pay, and then they're making the tasks that their quote unquote slaves or hive is assigned criminal acts. When you introduce the criminal acts, that's where we introduce like the terrorism part, which is not legal in the States. Hidden in plain sight, yeah. So the cult or a religious organization, that part may be public. Everybody may join a cult or a religious group publicly. But the part where everybody has to give all of their resources and they make it seem like it's a gift, but really it's almost like it's an entry fee, or really it's like a pledge for membership, or really it's almost like a requirement, especially in cases where you take an oath or you have a covenant to bind yourself to it. Anytime you give away your power to something and you say that that organization owns you, in essence, possession is 9/10 of the law. They say if an organization owns you, then all of your assets and your resources belong to them. And so once you join, this cult can get into, same as a terrorist organization, can get into basically making it seem like you are obligated to pour into it. And like I said, the part where the line is drawn is if, like, let's say you don't have the resources to pour in, or you don't have the assets, and they start demanding you commit criminal acts to make sure that you do it. It doesn't matter, and I don't know what the scenario is, but if you are part of a religious group that pushes an agenda, a religious group that promotes hive mentality, where everybody supports the one leader, where all of your resources, all of your assets pour into it, and then let's say it's hush hush, like you aren't allowed to post about it online, it's hidden in plain sight, then you may be in like a cult. And then if that cult is requiring that you commit criminal acts, that is a terrorist organization. Whether you are a citizen in the States or not, it's domestic terrorism. We have Muslim, Russian. Oh, these keep coming up. All right, so we have Muslim and Russian. I believe Muslim is a religion. I don't know a lot about it. I don't know why I was guided to write it, but I'll just take the energy. Muslim, and then we have Russian, and then we have this card. I just made this card. This card to me is like a I call it like a hostile takeover plan. So start off with a religious group, and then like the religious group, those members end up getting the community to pledge. And then once the community, then those people reach out and get like townspeople. And then once you get the smaller towns in a neighboring region, you can get like the city, a major city. And then if you take over the towns and the cities like that, you can take over the state. And then once you take over all the states, then the U.S. Simple as that. Like, I wrote it down in about 5 seconds, but like I've seen it firsthand. Almost everybody in the city where I was seemed to be associated in some type of way with this. Now, the Muslim and Russian energies that I'm getting, the only reason I'm getting those, that may be like something like, if it resonates. Quiet. If the main cult leader, or because this could just be a warning, if the main cult leader, or I'm seeing like 2 male cult leaders. If you're in a situation where you're a part of a religious group, and the two leaders of this group, one happens to be Russian and one happens to be Muslim. I'm getting like an African American may practice, believe it, a Muslim. If that is the case, then I may be channeling your community. If one of the religious leaders is Russian and one of them is Muslim, and if it seems like, and because they don't talk about it outside of the cult, what they're on, if they seem to be on like a pyramid scheme type situation where it's like, okay, the group went to the community and then to a town and then a city and a state in the U.S. where you all have to, let's say, quote unquote, get pledges or get people to join, you may be involved in a cult. If that cult is forcing people or even requesting kindly that people commit criminal acts, that is a terrorist group. We have Korean. If you have a leader, if you have all 3, then I have to be talking to you. If the cult leaders are Russian, Muslim, and Korean, I have alternate commerce system. If the way that they pay you is not a direct deposit into your bank, if let's say you can only spend the money you make at specific providers, if even though you may work a certain amount, they give you a stipend. For instance, if you make $1,000, if they tell you you only get $200 and it's not in cash and you can only spend it at these providers, you can't withdraw cash, and you can only use Apple Pay. I know this sounds crazy, but this is something I experienced. Literally, it was like where people in this community that were binded to this cult or coven, they made their money. Most of their money poured into this religious organization. They could only spend their money at a specific network of providers. And then in order for them to like make the payment, like they had to be in their vehicle. It required them to be in their vehicle. So I'm guessing whatever payment system was linked to their vehicle and the Bluetooth MAC address. So it was like their vehicle had to be at a specific provider. And then it was something also connected to their phone. Like their phone and their vehicle had to be on, like the same network tower as the provider. And then, the Bluetooth had to be on the phone to the car. And then it's like the GPS had to ping that they were at a provider. But they still weren't allowed to spend their money. Like there was like some sort of an alternate commerce system. If you're experiencing something like this may be, first of all, an alternate commerce system is a criminal act. I don't know if people know that, but any system to move commerce, collect commerce, pay commerce, that's not openly acknowledged by the United States, that's where I am. If it's not openly acknowledged, it's illegal. So participating in this alternate commerce system is a criminal act. So if you are a part of a religious organization and the religious organization pushes a specific religious agenda, and even if the only thing the religious organization does is force you to use this alternate commerce system, that is a criminal act. That is a terrorist group. So like the things people are participating in, think they're joining a cult or coven or religion, it's pretty serious. I don't know if you all know how the United States handle terrorists. You might want to look it up. Dismantle. So I'm not gonna lie, this is my goal. I love that I ended it here. This is my goal. And the reason is with me being intuitive, I see where it's going. Right? It may start off voluntarily, and then, it may be like everybody's hive mentality. So it may start off like, okay, well, we'll give you the money that you need for your needs, right? For whatever you need. And then you give what you can. But if it gets to a point where they need the money for something and you are bound to this religious organization, and they start like they may get into a place where they start forcing you with the threat of violence, surrendering your assets at a penalty of some other violent act. This alternate commerce system here, like a way to hide and move money, we got like, in the least, this is tax evasion. Like this is a sneak attack against the United States government. Tax evasion, just something simple as that. But if what I described seems like the group you are a part of, if I just describe something that goes on in your community, especially with this alternate commerce system, then if you use this, even if this is all you do, is use this. This is a criminal act. That is why I say terrorism. That's what it is. A religious group that pushes an agenda and they participate in criminal acts. That's by definition what it is, guys. So I hope this helps. It's just for information purposes only. Good day. God bless.